So why did all the cool stuff happen a long time ago? This is Offhand Attack. I am Tim. This is James. And we are with Tabletop Terrors. Your uncle's a necromancer, James. I'm sorry, I had to tell you. Your uncle's a necromancer. You know why he is?
No.
Oh. I didn't. I was hoping you'd kind of run with something funny, but that's on me.
Oh, well, yeah, because you were like, it sounded like you were setting me up for a joke.
I did a bad job there. Your uncle's a necromancer because he just invented necromancy. Your uncle's a necromancer.
I figured he just learned necromancy.
No, he invented it. Your uncle's a necromancer of torrents.
No.
He finds old torrents that nobody seeds or leeches, and he puts them all on his hobby server. There's RPG advice as usual, following our tomfoolery. So, this is the point of this video. When did necromancy happen in your campaign world? When did it start to become a thing? Are the undead just walking around? Because there had to be a genesis to that. There had to be a starting point, right?
Somebody had to do it the first time. Like everything. I mean, that's the case with a lot of things, but in your world, with necromancy specifically, that's a big deal.
Exactly.
That's like, dark, black magic. The first time somebody saw an undead, I don't know, that's a big deal. Or it
is.
It certainly should be.
And it should be. And that's the thing, is I want to encourage you, don't make so that all the cool stuff happened a long time ago. Don't make it so that it's mundane and it's been around. Make sure that you leave some cool stuff and let it happen to the players right now.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Just take things, necromancy being a good example, but...
Even magic in general, like magic in the world. That could be the start of the campaign.
And you can do this with a lot of different things. Another good example would be if a race doesn't exist currently in your world. A very popular one is tieflings are sort of these weird demon creatures, and I think even in Matt Click's Aeronaut world, there is a time in his history where a portal opened up and tieflings came pouring out of it, and that's when they started. What if that happened to your players?
Exactly.
What if it was like, no, there are no tieflings?
Exactly.
Now there are.
And this is going to be kind of a weird, example, but think about plastic. That's the thing that kind of made me think about this whole thing, is like, to us, plastic is just normal, and it's just around. So many things are made out of plastic, but before plastic, the materials that something had to be made out of were far more expensive, more difficult to mold, and so that shaped society. So when plastic was first invented, it had ripples, it had shockwaves, it changed the way that things were. So what the big things, necromancy, magic,
Barker, in his world of NK, I just realized this was a really good example of this. Firearms are becoming a thing. That's another one. Any sort of weapons. If somebody creates a weapon, in World War I, weapons, especially large artillery, the range got longer and longer and longer, to the point where they didn't think it was even possible to shoot a shell 6 miles and hit something. Because you're talking, before that it was cannons, and you're like, okay, I can see them,
right, exactly.
Let's shoot at them, hopefully it hits them. Now they're like, no, we're shooting 6 miles ahead and hitting targets. And it's the same with firearms, or it doesn't even have to be firearms. What if a better crossbow, appears, or, people haven't made battle axes yet. Simple stuff like that where, this is the prototype. This is the first time somebody decided, or a scimitar is a good example.
Yeah.
Scimitars aren't as common,
right,
but they have their benefits in combat. Not necessarily mechanically, like, it rolls higher dice, but...
Right, but in actual real-world combat, it's a game changer, especially if you're used to fighting people with long swords, or, etc.
Exactly.
So that would be the thing. That would be the advice, is stop putting all the cool stuff that happened in your history. I'm kind of stuck on the necromancy thing, because I thought it would be really, really interesting if, in our campaign world of Dragongrin, if the Dismembered Lord sort of
pioneered it. Necromancy.
Right, well, because I'm thinking...
He literally wrote the book on necromancy.
That's it, exactly. Because maybe death magic had been around, maybe it's one of those things where there's probably a good example in the world of technology, like of, actually, MySpace. The necromancy of MySpace was maybe around, maybe less, and it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, we can sort of talk to the dead, we can, but no one could raise anybody. and he made the Facebook of Necromancy. So what is it in your campaign? Oh, go ahead. You have a thing.
The Dismember Lord also invented Facebook and Dragonrin. Just that's canon.
He did. It had to be called Facebook because he doesn't have any other limbs.
Oh. Of his own.
Oh. So what is that in your campaign world? What is the thing that you are going to say, okay, just recently? I mean, what a start to a campaign. The players are in a tavern, they're in, and they're hearing murmurings and whisperings of this new art, this new dark art. And it's like, no, it can't be possible. The dead surely aren't rising.
Yeah.
Because then, think about how you can also make it so that creatures like skeletons, zombies, vampires, the players can role play these things sort of creeping into the campaign world, and it's not just like, oh, okay, we're going to fight some skeletons.
It also, in the long run, especially if you run a long campaign, or just when you look back as a GM or a player on that campaign, you remember that you made history, that you were a part of firearms being invented. You were, one of the first people to use firearms. You were one of the first people to encounter a zombie or a skeleton or something in that world. And that's a big deal, rather than, like you said, all the cool stuff happening a long time ago when your players couldn't be a part of it because it already exists.
Exactly.
So basically, if you ran a campaign 100, 200 years in the future, now Necromancy can be in the past, but you can cite, oh, but it was my group of so-and-so and this other guy, that discovered it for the first time.
That's awesome.
And that just makes a cool situation.
Yeah. So, like this video, comment below, what are you going to do in your campaign world? Or even,
what have you done?
What have you done in your campaign world? Put it in the comments below. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed to Tabletop Terrors. We love when you guys comment and just the sense of community. We have some of the best viewers. You guys are the best. So until next time, may your dice roll high.
TabletopTerrors.com. Subscribe to our channel.